talk about a vehicle that didn't just get an update, it had a full-blown identity crisis. And it came out the other side as something almost unrecognizable. This is the incredible story of the Land Rover Defender and how it went from a basic get-the-job-done farm tool to a seriously sophisticated global luxury icon.
Okay, this quote right here, it nails the very soul of the original Land Rover. This was never a vehicle you wanted to drive for fun. It was a vehicle you needed to get you somewhere nothing else could. It was a tool, plain and simple.
To really get what happened here, we've got to rewind all the way back to post-World War II Britain. See, this thing wasn't designed in some fancy studio to be a status symbol. Nope, it was engineered to be a practical solution for a country that was getting back on its feet.
In 1948, the Land Rover Series I wasn't so much designed as it was assembled out of necessity. It took its cues directly from military Jeeps, and it had one single-minded goal: be tough, be simple, and work. That's it. You know, every single part of its design was dictated by pure function. The body panels were aluminum not because it was a high-tech, lightweight choice, but because steel was still being rationed after the war. It was boxy because those flat panels were cheap to make and super easy to fix with a hammer out in the middle of nowhere. This wasn't built to impress your neighbors, it was built to outlast them.
So you fast forward a few decades, and this simple tool evolves to the Series 2 and 3 and eventually gets the name we know today, Defender. It became a legend around the world, but its core identity, that raw, do-anything capability, that stayed exactly the same. And that was its whole philosophy. The mission came first, period. Didn't matter if that mission was crossing a desert, plowing a field, or delivering aid. The vehicle's needs were number one. The comfort of the person driving? Well, that was a distant second thought, if it was a thought at all.
And here's the crazy part. A massive drawback, the fact that it was noisy and bounced you all over the place, that somehow became its most celebrated feature. Owners didn't just put up with it, they loved it. That rawness became a badge of honor, a symbol of its authenticity.
But, that rugged analog design, the one that purists absolutely adored, it couldn't last forever. The world was changing. New safety standards, new emissions laws. And the Defender, this mechanical fossil, had to make a choice: change completely or disappear. And after almost 70 years, bam, the legend hit a brick wall. The very things that made it a Defender, that simple, tough ladder frame chassis, were the exact things that made it impossible to sell in the modern world. So in 2016, production just stopped. And everyone was left wondering, what on earth comes next?
Okay, this right here, this chart, is the whole story. It gets to the very heart of the transformation. The biggest mechanical shift was absolutely massive. The classic Defender, it was built with solid axles. Think of a simple, solid steel bar connecting the wheels. It's incredibly tough for off-roading, but on a normal road, it's just awful. The new one, it moved to a sophisticated independent suspension. That one change, it changed everything.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That just sounds like a technical update, right? An engineering tweak. But this switch in suspension wasn't just an evolution, it was a complete revolution. It was the key that unlocked a totally new identity, a new audience, and a whole new purpose for the Defender name. So when the Defender finally came back in 2020, let's be clear, this wasn't an update. It was a ground-up reinvention, built on that entirely new mechanical foundation. And it was aimed at a customer the old Defender couldn't have even dreamed of. Here's the easiest way to think about it. With the old solid axles, if the left wheel hits a big bump, it shoves the whole axle up, affecting the right wheel too. The whole car lurches. With independent suspension, each wheel is on its own. One wheel can hit a pothole and the others just cruise along. This is the tech that finally let the Defender off the farm and made it comfortable to drive through a city. And that one core mechanical change started this incredible domino effect. First, the smooth ride made it a car you could actually drive every day. Then, better handling attracted people who cared about how it drove on pavement, not just on rocks. And that new, wealthier audience, they demanded all the modern tech, which the new platform could finally handle. So what you end up with is a totally different animal. It has a modern unibody chassis instead of that old ladder frame. The inside is all leather and giant touch screens, things that are just unimaginable in the original. It competes head-to-head with luxury SUVs from Mercedes and BMW, and yet, and this is the important part, it's still engineered to be one of the most capable off-roaders on the planet. Which, of course, brings us to the big and pretty polarizing question about its real identity. When something changes this much, is it even the same thing anymore? What does the name Defender really mean today?
I mean, just look at the shift in its mission. The original was a tool for survival, built for muddy fields and harsh terrain. The new one, it's a statement of success, just as comfortable cruising down a fancy city street as it is climbing a mountain.
And that really is the bottom line. This wasn't a slow, gradual change like you see with most cars. This was a fundamental, from-the-ground-up reinvention, all driven by one crucial decision to change its core mechanics.
And that's the debate that's still raging in car clubs and online forums all over the world. It really makes you wonder, is this modern, capable luxury machine a worthy successor carrying the torch, or is it a completely different vehicle that just happens to be using a legendary name? What do you think?